First, there are growing calls from Democrats to impeach US President Donald Trump. This after special counsel Robert Mueller refused to exonerate the president for obstruction of justice, breaking his silence for the first time since the probe began 2 years ago. Mueller said it would have been impossible to charge a sitting president, and he now says he is retiring from public life.
I'm speaking out today because our investigation is complete. The Attorney General has made the report on our investigation largely public. We are formally closing the special counsel's office, and as well, I'm resigning from the Department of Justice to return to private life.
Well, joining us now is Eric Lisann. He's a lawyer and a legal expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, Eric. Now, Mueller's left it kind of open tonight, hasn't he? He said, quote, "If we thought Trump hadn't committed a crime, we would have said." I mean, as a lawyer, how does that work? You're either innocent or you're guilty, aren't you?
No, actually, Laura, in the court of public opinion, it doesn't work that way. In a criminal trial, you are correct that that's how that would work. And what Mueller is saying is we certainly didn't absolve the president, but in plain English, he's also saying, look, if it was anybody else, we would have charged him with a crime. The problem here is I felt bound by policy, not law, because there's no law on this specific subject, but there's policy that we don't bring a criminal prosecution against a sitting president. And so for that reason, I am not going to go out and formally declare that I believe the president should be charged with a crime, because I, Robert Mueller, believe that is the job of Congress. That's really what he's saying here. And he also is probably going further than that, because behind the lines he's really saying, Congress, this is your job. Quit trying to duck it and go do it. I'm doing nothing more on this question. You have my report.
Well, if he thinks it's the job of Congress to do something about it, why won't he sit down and take questions from lawmakers?
Excellent question. His reticence, to me at least, is somewhat perplexing. He doesn't want to get involved in what will obviously be a political fray, but that's part of the bailiwick that he took up as special counsel. And indeed, all his predecessors in this job, there haven't been that many, and the law has changed from bit to bit over the years, but they've all had to get implicated in the fray, some willingly, some not willingly. Mueller clearly, at least at this stage, evidently in his life, and I don't know if he's got health issues, doesn't want to get involved in that. But whether he wants to or not, he may have to, and it will be significant for the public to hear from him. He really was the man of the hour. He wrote this exhaustive 448-page report on what he did do. There were things he didn't do as well that need to be explained. But even on what he did do, nobody, and as far as the average person, hasn't read every paragraph and footnote in that report. And they want to hear from him how it's explained, especially in light of the fact that he's basically said William Barr, the current occupant of the Attorney General role, has completely mischaracterized what was in there. So he is going to need to say more whether he wants to or not.
Do Democrats have a stronger case to impeach Trump, and are they going to attempt to do that before the election?
Well, that is the question of the hour. There are even some Republicans, or at least one in the House of Representatives, Justin Amash, who's made a very strong and forceful case to begin the impeachment proceedings. At this point, it would just be an investigation, and they would be calling witnesses. That in itself serves a public education role and increases transparency and can build on itself. And there does seem to be a majority of Democrats in the House and even in the Senate who will ultimately sit as judges if there is any formal impeachment proceeding brought, that feel that this is the way to go. The reticence is on the part of the senior Democratic House leadership, Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer, who may have some differences even between them, but they basically feel that because this is so heavily tinged as a political process, that the Republican majority in the Senate may not go along with it no matter what, and they might fear as a political consequence whatever the fallout is of not getting a conviction in the Senate. However, the growing sentiment is that regardless of the political considerations, the facts and the principles here are just so important that the formal proceedings should begin.
All right, Eric, thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there. Eric Lisann there joining us from Washington.